The chatter around Cam Coleman returning to Auburn, it's not going away.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Lindsay, Crosby of thebarnauburn.com and a million other places hanging out with us as he does every single Monday. Love the strong final recruiting push by Alex Golesh and his staff. We'll touch on a commitment that they got over the weekend, as well as some portal drama. More guys are portaling. Key guy Connor Lew declaring for the NFL draft. We'll discuss the impact of all of that. But Cam Coleman, it's not going away. The chatter, whether it's him staying, him going, it's gonna continue to float until he makes a decision. And yesterday we saw Tom Loy, who has been all over it. He's a national guy for 247, but he's been all over Auburn for the last several years. He's nailed it. He said that he's got, sources are saying they feel so confident about Cam Coleman's return to Auburn. And that's been the most definitive thing we've seen outside of a lot of us around Auburn just saying like, yeah, we think he's going to stay.
Yeah. Listen, keeping Cam Coleman, I think almost makes all of the rest of the portal entries worth it, because like in my mind, you need that one incredibly talented player that you can build around, right? Like we've won national championships off of one incredibly talented player. And I'm not saying that Cam Coleman is Cam Newton, but when you have a game-breaking talent like that, it makes everybody else's job a little bit easier. So yes, you may have lost multiple wide receivers, Perry Thompson, Malcolm Sims, and all of that. But if you have Cam Coleman, whoever's asked to be your number two will get less attention than if Cam Coleman wasn't here. And I think that's, at the end of the day, that's a big deal.
Yeah. And it becomes even a bigger deal if Eric Singleton chooses to stay, which sounds like he's waiting for his NFL draft grade to come back. That's what we heard about Connor Lew, that he decided yesterday. So are those timelines similar? I don't think that seems to be completely out of the question. I do think Connor Lew is more of a surefire thing than Eric Singleton from an NFL draft standpoint, and we can have that discussion at a later date. But yeah, Cam Coleman's impact would be huge for several reasons. One, I mean, he was probably Auburn's second best player last year. I think Keldrick Falk was number one, but Cam Coleman is special. He's special, and I think in a system that could use him in a better way than what we've seen him do at Auburn the last 2 years in a Hugh Freeze system. That's exciting. And it almost feels like Auburn owes him that at this point. I think the Auburn fans would love to see him in a system that's designed for, getting these chunk plays through the air, stretching the field, and also, allowing them to run stuff underneath and all that as well. But still, to use Cam Coleman's full arsenal of what he's able to do. But the on-field stuff is obvious.
Yeah.
The off-the-field stuff, we've seen Alex Golesh and his staff pick up some wins. Xavier Atkins was a big deal, and we've seen they flipped a few guys on National Signing Day and picked up a few guys that Michigan lost because of all the stuff that they're going through. We'll talk more about that later in today's show. Mm-hmm. I mean, you talk about Tom Loy's a national writer, and he's talking about Cam Coleman, because if Cam Coleman were to enter the portal, he would be the best receiver in the portal and probably the best player in the portal. And this is a national story. And this would fix a lot of the narrative. And I don't know if he really cares about the narrative. I'm kind of over the narrative of, winning the public opinion battle. Right. But AL.com yesterday put out a bogus story about how the sink is, or the boat or ship is already sinking with Golesh. And it's like, hold on. That was the headline. I didn't want to click on it. And I didn't. I didn't want to read the story, but that's the headline. That's what most people are going to see. And it's like, if you want that crap to go away, just find a way to make sure Cam Coleman puts that announcement out there before the portal officially opens on Friday.
Yeah, public perception has a way of becoming reality when it happens enough. Like Auburn recruiting could be really, really good.
Yeah.
But if the perception is that we're not landing guys under the new staff and we're losing too many players, then that starts having an actual effect. And I also have not read the Joseph, I think it's Joseph Goodman. Who else would it be with AL.com but taking no morning shots? Somebody told me that he actually refutes it a little bit in the article. I still refuse to read it just on principle. It gives him a click and everything. But yeah, being able to keep key guys is a big deal. And like, listen, on the Connor Lew thing, Connor Lew going to the league, I don't think there's any sort of like issues there. It's a different, some people are like, you lost Connor Lew. He's going to the NFL. That's different.
I thought that was a pipe dream from the get-go. Sure, there's a chance if his injury would have come back, but then I think for his injury to impact his decision to go pro, I think it would have had to be severe enough where it would impact his play next year, even at Auburn. I think that's what he had to prove. And yeah, clearly he got reports and grades back that they wouldn't be concerned about that.
Yeah, which makes sense. But yeah. I mean, you're in a situation, you've got a lot of vacancies now. If you glance at a depth chart right now for the offense, I mean, it's a lot of young players, redshirt freshmen, sophomores, who would be starting for you.
So assuming everyone who has a report who's reportedly expected to enter, let's just assume all of them truly go in on Friday. You've got 2 scholarship quarterbacks, Deuce, and then Reese Brush. Then you've got your 4 running backs. I haven't seen anything one way or the other about the running backs, which is good. Your receiving core right now, assuming Eric and Cam come back, Bryce Kane, and then last year's freshman. We haven't seen anything about Duke and Eric Smith and Sam Turner. And then the 3 guys you just signed, Deshaun Spencer, Brian Williams, and then Brady Marchese that we'll talk about in a second. You got your 3 tight ends, Preston Howard. We'll leave that alone. Ryan G, DJ Broughton, the freshman you just signed. And then, Connor Lew is gone. And so now your offensive line is the biggest one, where it's just like, what in the world?
There's 5 guys, not counting signees.
Yeah. Yeah. And so some positions, I don't know if you got to do that much for. Quarterback, obviously, you need 1 more at least. Receiver is interesting. I think you probably need 2 there. Running back, if it stays steady, I'm fine if you just run it back with those guys, pun intended. Then you get 2 tight ends. But offensive line, man. Offensive line.
Ooh.
That's just, that's a lot. That's a lot.
I mean, you signed 5, but you literally, assuming no injuries, you're counting on those 5 to be your second group at the 2 deep. And there's nobody behind them. So other than walk-ons. So yeah, you need help there. I do think defensive tackle, you've got 3 guys, you signed 2. So you have numbers, but experience, you don't really have.
Oh, I think outside of quarterback, the most money will be spent on D-line in the portal.
Yeah. I mean, between that and then you look at the edge, right?
O-line's going to be tough too. O-line, you got to spend a lot of money too.
O-line, I think the lines are where, other than that 1 quarterback you get, the money has to go on both sides.
Yeah, trench play. Trench play is going to be a big, big deal. You've had a lot of DBs enter. We'll talk more about them in a second, but
yeah,
the answer seems to be there for some of it. You're going to have to add more guys, but your core is still there, I think. And then obviously linebacker you feel good about. Special teams you feel good about. So, yeah, we had some portal drama, both with guys leaving and then guys who we already expected to leave saying stuff. Let's jump into that in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Rougiette. Let's talk about something most men don't bring up, but absolutely should. Stress from work, money, life. It just doesn't switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, Rougiette Ready is designed to help you take back control. Rougiette Ready is a next generation prescription treatment created to support both the brain and the body so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. Rougiette Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients and 1 mint that dissolves under your tongue so it absorbs fast and ready to go when you are ready to go. If you've been thinking about taking the next step, now's the time. Head to Rougiette.com/LockedOnCollege. That is RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rougiette ready. Feel present. Feel confident. Feel ready. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Kia Autosport Columbus. You can browse their full inventory today at KiaAutosportColumbus.com or go see them in person right off of Whittlesey Boulevard in Columbus, Georgia. We had a YouTube comment from a viewer over the weekend saying, thank you. I got my $500 off my new Kia Autosport Columbus. He said, thank you. And no. Thank Kia Autosport Columbus. I mean, the deal is incredible. Lindsay said it before. It's probably the best deal we've ever thrown out there. $500 off just for listening to the show. It's crazy. It's crazy. So go check them out. Mention the show Locked on Auburn. You get $500 off. We have proof now. You can go look at the YouTube comments. I think it was from Friday or Saturday's show, but it's there. The proof is there. And of course, also with Kia, you can ask them about Tires for Life, which is an incredible deal in and of itself. So KiaAutosportColumbus.com. Lindsay Crosby hanging out with us of the barn, Auburn.com. So we had a few guys enter the portal, some more definitive than others. Let's start with the more definitive one, Kinsley Faustin entering the portal. He played more last year than I expected him to in a pretty loaded defensive back room. He found his way on the field and was productive, got a pick this year, had some pass breakups. He was a solid piece of that core of Auburn's depth in the defensive back room. So he exceeded expectations for me, and now he's leaving. And what's interesting about his situation is, Lindsay, I think if he would have stayed, he would have competed for some real reps, even more than he did this year for next year's team. So you got to assume money, or maybe he wants to be the starter somewhere. I don't think he would have started, but I do think he would have been a key piece in the rotation at defensive back. Once again, there's a million reasons why guys enter the portal. Maybe it's relationship with position coaches or whatever that might be. Could be NIL, could be playing time. Maybe they told him something different. We don't know. But this one surprises me a little bit. I don't think it's a major impact one way or the other. I think there's plenty of guys like him in the portal, but this one did surprise me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, pro and con on this one. The pro, to your point, is there's lots of guys who can kind of replicate what he did. 188 snaps out of slot. And it's possible that part of the reason that he wanted to transfer, he wants to transfer, has announced that he's transferring, is he wants to be an outside corner, and the new staff indicated they would keep him in the slot. We've seen that before with guys who wanted to be outside versus in the slot because of how the NFL views each respective position and the value of it. So it's possible that could be the thing. I think he had, what was it? I think he had like 231 coverage snaps and something like 188 of them were out of the slot. So he was there a lot. That could always be an aspect of it. But I kind of agree that a slot corner feels like it's a little bit easier to cover or to replace in the portal. And not that PFF's gospel, he didn't grade out as the best coverage guy doing what he did.
Yeah, defensive back grades are tricky because sometimes guys get credited for a reception because they're having to overcorrect because somebody else like blew coverage. Like that's always so
it's tricky.
Yeah. And then also like they grade every DB like the same, and it's way harder to play middle of the field than it is boundary sometimes. So there's a lot of different variables that go into that. Was this tackle grade reasonable? Because sometimes also like a guy might miss a tackle and it just plummets their overall grade too. I'm not saying Kinsley Faustin was like a world beater, but like I certainly don't think he was bad for Auburn last year. But also when you look at Auburn's middle of the field defenders next year, Champ Anthony's shown he can kind of do multiple things. Caleb Harris, we haven't heard from him yet. Sylvester Smith, we haven't heard from. Case Seymour, we haven't heard from. Eric Winters, New Boy Fagans, we haven't heard from. And then some of the young guys coming in, DeMonte Tab and Wayne Henry. I'm really high on Wayne Henry. Haven't heard from those guys yet either. So those are all guys that can play in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
But once again, like you can find those guys. You can find guys like him in the portal over and over and over again.
Yeah. The thing that you hate the most is it's a guy that you brought in that is leaving. But at the same time, we've seen some of these guys who are leaving. Did you get them because they were overpaid to begin with? Right? Bringing somebody else in, can you kind of reset that pay scale, pay expectation, whatever it might be? We don't, and we're just not privy to that, which is the unfortunate part of the
with him,
conversation
I just can't imagine we were like
paying too
I
much.
just can't imagine we were paying him that much. But
yeah, a lot
once
of it's
again, like,
pedigree.
it could be NIL, it could be playing time, he could be want to be a starter, could just want a fresh start somewhere. I mean, there's a million reasons why you get into the portal. So best of luck to Kinsley Faustin wherever he ends up. And if he comes back, great. Happy to have you. Another one, Dylan Cinda. Reports came out that Dylan Cinda is expected to enter the portal. And then I think it was Pete Nakos in one of the boards, somebody screenshotted and posted on socials saying that, okay, right after that happened, per his agent, he's having like second thoughts. Right. And this is something that we've seen discussed in the comments a ton and also on socials, just kind of tweeting at us saying like, hey, just because these reports are coming out doesn't mean they're leaving. And for the most part, I've pushed back on that. Like, I think most of these guys are gone, but this could be an example where like, yeah, that could be true. If he is having second thoughts. Dylan Cinda is a guy that we've talked about for a long time. And I think Dylan Cinda would compete for reps next year. I think he's certainly in the battle for one of those interior spots, depending on who all comes back. Like Ty Busters hung around. They liked him a lot. The last staff liked him a lot this past spring. Jacoby Ward, haven't really heard a ton about. You got to assume with the Connor Liu news that Cale Ellis is a starting center, which I think Cinda did some snapping in some of the practices that we've seen, but could he slot in at guard?
Yeah. His actual playing time last year, he got 6 snaps at right guard and 10 at right tackle, and everything else was on field goal and extra points.
He only played 16 offensive snaps last year. I would have guessed it was more than that.
He had 13 in week 2, and he had 3 in week 13, and that was it.
Interesting.
So, yeah, that was a surprising thing to me. I figured he would have gotten more. That corresponds to Ball State and Mercer. It's entirely possible that maybe that played into the decision. It's like, hey, they didn't play the guys that are here.
I thought even in like backup garbage time, he would have played more than that.
Yeah. Like the guys who are all staying played more than me last year. Do I feel like I can even win one of these spots or not? And I would argue new coaching staff, there's no reason not to stay, but I could see that side of it as well. And then maybe that's why he's having second thoughts.
Yeah.
Supposedly, reportedly, allegedly. Don't get fired.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with Dylan Cinda. Once again, offensive line, you're going to need bodies. Dylan Cinda, I think, is a serviceable guy to have in that position room. I think he could compete for reps, or at least the opportunity for a position battle there. But he's also been here a minute. Transfer from Northwestern several years ago, but
yeah,
he could compete for spots. So this is another one that surprises me. There are going to be several Dylan Cindas in the portal, so not a huge deal, but I am surprised by him potentially entering.
Real quick and briefly, obviously you can't count on this, but are there any of the freshman offensive linemen, maybe I guess Barry McWhorter probably, that could conceivably pick up a starting spot in the fall? Barry McWhorter makes sense as the guy, but even then, I think he was maybe a 3-star.
No,
I'm trying to think about who it was. It's just like you obviously can't count on any of these guys, but like Parker Pritchett, Wilson Zaire, I don't think anybody is a realistic threat to get a starting spot. So you're really trying to find multiple starters.
Yes. Yeah, I think the only guy I feel really good that Auburn has signed on scholarship right now to start next year is Cale Ellis. That's it.
Everybody else, it's like you got to bring in options. You got to bring in
Tyler Johnson has had opportunities to step up and he hasn't seized it. You got to think he would have a chance.
Maybe under a new staff.
Gosh, like when you look at it's just they're so young. They like Ty Buster a lot, but I don't know if I want Ty Buster starting next year.
He got 11 snaps last year. Ty Buster did.
Yeah. True freshman,
Yeah. Johnson got 7. So like it's kind of the same boat there.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So O-line's going to be tricky. Hey, strong final push for the 2026 class. What kind of impact could that have? Then what does this say about the coaching staff? That's next, right here. Oh, we didn't get with the drama. We'll start with the drama of a guy who said that, some things about Auburn. That's next, right here, about Unlocked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Live betting yesterday on NFL Sunday would have been insane. I was so dialed in to Pat's Jets, which got ugly real quick. Thankfully, Drake May didn't play any of the fourth quarter, which was awesome. And then that Eagles-Bills game. I mean, I bet that was just, tale of two halves. Wasn't quite enough, though. Josh Allen missing a wide open guy in that 2-point conversion. Yep. Shame. Total shame.
Tonight, Rams at Falcons. Rams are favored by 7.5, and I think that's giving the Falcons too much credit.
Yeah, I think the Rams cover that. So if you agree with me and Lindsay, head over to FanDuel.com and also check out the FanDuel app to see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. So that's exciting. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you so much for making Locked on Auburn your first listen every single day. So there was a group of guys that were live on Instagram over the course of the weekend, and Malcolm Simmons appeared on one of these lives. Of course, former Auburn Tiger, not officially former, but I think for the folks who say he may come back, I don't think that's happening now.
I think that ship has sailed. Yeah,
I think so. So he said expletive Auburn. I think we all can fill in the blank there. And then he dropped a Roll Tide on there.
Gross.
And so take that for what it's worth. Disgusting, putrid. And then Mike G reported, I've seen a few people tweet this, that Mike G, friend of the program of the War Report, reported that Malcolm just ghosted the staff. So they never even really had like official conversations. So
weird.
It's strange. So take all of that for what it's worth. But yeah, for the crowd that like, all right, hey, Malcolm could always come back. I don't think so. And you talk about shifting a culture. Probably a good thing. So
can we discuss real quick the brief appearance from what I saw about this with Deuce Knight on that same thing?
Yes.
Where Deuce Knight, I can't remember the name of the player, but there's a player who's committed to Alabama that was
Cedarian Morgan. CD
there
Morgan.
You go.
Yeah.
CD Morgan was on there, and Deuce hops on the stream and pretty much tells Morgan to come to Auburn and then gets back off. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I feel good about Deuce if that's what he's doing on December 27th, 28th when this happened.
Yeah, I mean it was over the weekend, right? So was it the 27th?
I think so.
Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. So just wild. Absolutely wild. All right. You mentioned Bear McWhorter a second ago. So of course he was committed to Michigan and then did not end up with Michigan because of all of the stuff going on with the Wolverines. And then we also saw Brady Marchese, which I watched a few Michigan podcasts talk about him and they pronounced it Marchese. I would have guessed Marquise. So take that for what it's worth. But state of Georgia guy, went to Cartersville and was committed to Georgia, signed with Michigan. And now he has flipped to Auburn. He's going to be an Auburn Tiger, but a 4-star receiver. And I mean, well, what's not to like about this edition? So as far as the player, 6'1", 180, good size, good speed, moves really, really well. Interested to see where he fits in an Alex Golesh system, but I mean, we talk about a guy who's committed to Georgia and committed to Michigan. You can commit if you're committed to those two places, like that's enough for me. That is enough for me right there.
Not terrible schools. I think you've got
No.
multiple national championships in there in just the last couple of years.
Yes. Yeah. So true blue chip guy. 247 has him as a 3-star. Looks like everywhere else. The composite has him as a 4-star. So take that for what it's worth. The big picture macro takeaway, in my opinion, is, and Auburn posted a video of them talking with Joel Gordon, the OC, of how passionate and devoted Golesh is to recruiting. And I love this because, he saw a gap in the armor with some of these guys. He's like, I'm going to go get them. I'm going to go do what it takes to get them. And I think that's good. I think that's a good thing to take away with him saying, hey, I didn't have much time to have much of an impact on this 2026 class. We retained the guys that were committed that we wanted to retain. We flipped a few really talented players. And then you add Bear McWhorter and then Brady, Marchese. Like that's enough. That's enough for me where I'm like, okay, he's doing what he can to make this class as strong as he can in a very limited amount of time.
Getting a little opportunistic with it. I like that. Just we don't know the NIL numbers, right? But that's a strategy that feels like it is a little bit of taking advantage of opportunities to maybe get a guy a little bit, maybe cheaper than what he currently got to sign somewhere because of their instability and everything.
Maybe.
Feels like that could be a very money ball kind of thing, just tying it back to baseball like I always do. But I think the big thing is it feels like this is the culture. I apologize for those of you who I'm about to scar here. The culture that Brian Harsin wanted to institute, right? Guys who are all about the team, who are not here for the money, they're going to play, all that good stuff, with the recruiting focus and acumen of Hugh Freeze. So like this is probably what we wanted from the last two hires. The problem is on both of them, we kind of got one side of the coin and not the other. And this one, at least the very, very, very early returns, feels like it could be the best of both worlds. Obviously, it's very early, but I do feel like that's a good sign that, hey, he cares about the culture stuff and doing things the right way, but he also puts in the effort towards recruiting, which is not something we've had. We've not had both of those aspects from any head coach recently.
Yep. I agree with that.
Thank you.
Lindsay, Crosby, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
I'm on social media at Crosby Baseball. You can check out everything I'm doing. BravesToday.com, the Braves Today podcast. It's massive right now. We're also making preparations. I had a call just on Sunday about the 2026 Auburn baseball season and what the coverage plans are for that as well. That's coming soon. So keep watching right here.
Yep. Please like the video. Please subscribe. And if you're tuning in on audio, please subscribe and leave us a review. Helps the show out a ton. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.